Let me ask you one question. What is reality? So now your brain is searching for answers, searching for past experience to come up with what's reality. So you might tell yourself, it's going to work, it's make money, it's paying bills, it's doing this, doing that, taking care of the family. That's probably what your brain is telling you. But have you ever asked, here's a second question for you. Have you ever asked yourself, who is telling you that this is the reality or your reality? Have you ever questioned that? So today I'm going to dive into what is reality. And based on what I've been learning in a spiritual aspect and quantum physics, I came to a realization and awareness. Conscious is the only reality. And we have conscious and subconscious. And I also came to realize that conscious is not in our body. It's actually fluid. It can travel into multiple dimensions. And our subconscious is actually the local data storage station. That's our body. Okay? That's why I asked you this question. What is your reality? And when you start searching for that answer, your local data center, which is your subconscious, you start bringing all the data, all the past experience, and all this knowledge from the quote-unquote the past, and come up with this definition of reality. But I want you to go one level deeper and ask yourself, who told you that is the reality? And who gave you that idea that is the reality? And there's many different layers on top of that. So I'm going to break it down into a couple general layers, because essentially everyone is in their own reality. Everyone is in their own universe. Our body is the universe. And what's within, so without. So we are all projecting our own reality into this screen that we call reality. Okay, so the reality that we individually projecting is from our past experience, like I mentioned, past knowledge and past trauma sometimes. Just to give you some example. So during our childhood, from the age 1 to 7, we're basically, it's like a blank paper, or if you want to I'll put it in a better analogy, it's like a computer. There's no software, and software we have to install it. So from the age 1 to 7 is the time that we building up and accumulate this software in our computer, which is our body. Okay, so during our childhood, we might experience teachings and learnings from our parents, right? Our grandparents or some, and also from our own experience in the schools, kindergartens, and the people, the friends that we encounter during that time, right? And the experience can be positive or negative, and many times our parents will guide us, okay, and telling us what they have been through, okay? Their experience, their data, and implement into us. And that's actually passed down by generation and generations. If unconsciously that we're doing that because it's in our local data center subconscious. That's how our mind and body works, right? Our mind always looking for familiar. If anything is not familiar, the mind will categorize that is a danger, and our mind is built to fight or fly, right? So if there's danger, then the mind will tell us, no, that's not good. That's a harm. So that's why it's so hard for us to change if we already have built up our data center in our subconscious. And also at the same time, our subconscious is running on life, autopilot, if you're not aware. And if you just picture that, look at your day-to-day life. It seems like a Groundhog Day, right? Just like that movie. We're just repeating our routines every day, and we do things every day. We go to same places. Oftentimes, we're doing things very unconsciously. And our reality is based on that. If we don't consciously aware, which is our second conscious, which is the one that we need to be awakened in order to shift, change, leap. Okay? Because we are here, we're meant to be here to create our reality, to manipulate the energy. Everything is energy. If we're not observing our reality, we are lost. We're not here. That's why sometimes people knock on other people's brain, say, anybody home? Right? So if our conscious is not right here, right now, at this moment, present moment, then most likely our conscious is in the imagination future or our past. And our subconscious actually running the show here. The reason I start recognize this is when my mom passed 3 years ago, and I had my friend help me heal and grieve. At the same time, my friend, she is a hypnosis, and we did a session together actually on a podcast. During that session on the show, she asked me a lot of questions, and this is what I'm trying to do with you as well here on this channel. I want to trigger yourself, trigger you to bring your conscious back to your present moment in this realm, in this third dimension, so you can start asking questions. And when you asking questions, you are not using your autopilot subconscious. You are tapping into a quantum field. You are tapping into the field that is invisible from us. You are not just the observer, observing the subconscious projection of your reality. You will be pulling informations from the quantum field. And the science call that in the trance state. And every night we actually do that. Brain has different waves. And every time before we go to sleep, the moment before we fall asleep, and then the moment we still have our conscious, that is the theta wave. And that is when our conscious, that's between our conscious and subconscious, that's the opening portal that's able to take in information. That's why when I say open-minded, and we are not open-minded because our subconscious, our mind is running the show. It's running your reality because they're only looking for safety. They're only looking for familiarity. And that's why your mind is not open. But if you're in a trance state, and when you're in the theta wave, brainwave, then that's the portal of the opening of your conscience, your mind. And you will be able to observe new information, and you will be able to see different perspective, because basically what we see in our reality is our perception. We are observing our perceptions. We are projecting our perceptions. Okay, so everybody has different perception based on, like I mentioned, their past experience. And many people will hoard their possessions. And that's normal because, again, that's because our subconscious want you to be saved and don't want you to try anything, because that's considered danger to the subconscious. And that's why in that hypnosis that I was talking about, I remember my friend was asking me a bunch of questions, but there's one part that I mentioned that I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer, so I'm open to receive. See, in that state of mind, I am welcoming new informations, new frequencies, and that's the portal that I open. We are not our body or our mind. As I mentioned earlier, our conscious is multiple dimension traveler, and it can travel into different reality, different timelines, different dimensions, and our ego will usually stop us from doing that. And many people cannot let go of the ego identity, and that's the reason why most people trap in this third dimension and thinking their life is hard and thinking they don't have the power to change and always looking for external, but they don't understand. And of course, the school, which is when we learn, when we're growing up, nobody will teach you this because the teacher probably doesn't know as well. But the elites in our society, they know, okay? The 1% people know, and the 5% is trying to wake up. 95% are still running in the autopilot. And the ego identity is the identity that also built up from our subconscious mind. It gives us who we are and what we know. And oftentimes, we are projecting that into the reality or the collective consciousness. Okay? And that's why we have so many arguments, so many chaos these days, because everybody is saying, I'm right. You're wrong. Okay? And politics as well, left and right. But if you can just see through that, and look at everything has two sides, but either side is still the same thing. So let's say, for example, the coins, right? There's heads and tail. No matter if it's a head or tail, it's still a coin, right? But the magical part is when you can look through the void, meaning the middle, the neutral middle ground. So that is the purpose that I'm making these videos. First of all, to trigger your ego identity, to trigger your subconscious mind, for you to start asking questions, to start seeing the opposites, so you can see the polarity in order to know, okay, there's the opposite, there's left and right, there's up and down, there's good and bad, right? But ask yourself, do you see what's in between? See, that's the part with every answer. And when you do that, again, that's like what I just mentioned earlier. When I have that hypnosis section, I was in a trance state. And theta wave, when we go to sleep, half awake, half falling asleep, it's also that middle neutral ground, neutral state, right? When that happens, our mind, our portals opens, and we generate new frequencies, new signals, we observe new informations. All right? So next time when you start defending your ego identity, say, this is wrong, this is right, this is not me, this is not you, okay? This is not for me, this is black, this is white, this is true, this is false. Just take yourself back and think about it. Whatever we are arguing is the same thing. And we'll see through it, experience it, but don't hold on to it. Let it go. Let your ego identity go. Let whatever program you or trauma that you have in the past to let go. And in order to see something different, new perspective, new angle, is to let go, to able to see the middle ground, to be neutral, And that's when you can have new observations and you can see different things in your surroundings or in your reality. And quantum physics is telling us we are the observers, okay? So all your experience in your reality is projecting from you. We all have our own reality individually. And of course, we have a collected consciousness reality as well. So there's two different layers. So right now, many of us are shouting or yelling our own individual reality, our own observations, our own experience, our own ego identities. And that's why there's a lot of conflicts, and that's why a lot of chaos. And our President Trump is here to bring those out and to dismantle the system. So there's new system. So there's new earth, new conscious. Okay? And in order to do that, everything has to end first. Everything has to collapse first. As the observer, observing your reality, you have to be conscious aware of that in order to change. Just like for example, like you're watching a movie, right? You're watching a TV or a movie these days, same thing because it's streaming, right? So in order for you to change the channel or change the streaming, while you're streaming, then you have to have the remote control and have the conscious to switch the channel, right? Otherwise, you just keep watching the same thing over and over and over again. If you don't let go the current channel or current movie, then you can observe or see the next movie or the new movie that you want to see, right? So everything is energy. Everything is a wave of potential. And when everything collapses into the matters, it's what we, as an observer, that give us the meaning. Okay, so that's quantum physics. And I'm starting a school community. It's called Quantum Conscious Portal. If you're interested to join, and if you like this type of content, or you're starting having these kind of awakening experience, I will put a link in the show notes, in the description, for you to join for free. And we are sharing our experience as a collective conscious, because in order to shift, to change, to leap, we need to bring our conscious back to the middle ground, the present moment. Okay? Not in the past, not in the future, not left or right, not good or bad. It's just mutual in the present moment. The last thing I want to share is, again, there's a lot of distractions, and Epstein file recently released, and a lot of people are sharing their takes, and there's also a group of people are not even doing anything. It's strange, right? When I say not doing anything, meaning these are files that they release is to trigger our conscious, to trigger for us to ask questions, ask what is going on, what's real, what's our reality. Let's put if the file is real or not, or is it manipulated or not, on the side. But the mutual ground, okay, the middle ground is for us to ask questions. Okay, so the system is so corrupt, and all the things that these people are doing are so crazy. So majority of the people are still asleep just based on the release of Epstein file, because I'm not talking about you need to be react or scared or fear, but seems like nobody's asking additional questions. Seems like people are just in their little subconscious reality, paying the bills, go to school, go to work, I know that's what we need to do in order to continue to live in this third dimension. Nothing wrong with that. But in order for the collective conscious to shift into the new earth, we need to start asking questions. When we start asking questions, we are putting ourselves in the middle ground. If we don't, then we're one-sided, and then you're not creating your reality. Other people, the external world, okay, is creating the reality. So this is what this channel is for. I see a lot of you guys comment on a lot of video that I've been sharing these days, which is good. But again, we are all in our reality. Nothing is true. Nothing is false. It just is. Okay? And in order to see the middle ground, the void, okay, you have to bring your conscious back to the present moment in order to see through it, to receive the new channel, the new information, to see the new frequency and tap into the quantum field. Okay? So that's it for me. Until next time, leave your comment, leave your feedback, and stay safe out there and peace within.